Hi, I'm Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about exciting things that are happening right here in our community, and today will be no different. You know, the 16th Annual Writers Conference is coming in October at the Calhoun Community College, one of the best colleges on the planet. And I have two people here to talk to us about this today. They're actually committee members who are responsible for the planning of this awesome event. Dr. Sheila Byrd is with us today. She actually teaches in the Department of Humanities at Calhoun Community College. Welcome to the broadcast.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's good to have you here today. Dr. Leighann Rhea is with us today. She also is an instructor in the Department of Humanities. I get, professor, instructor, all that stuff mixed up from time to time.
Sure.
We know it's all terminology because we know you're both extraordinary people.
Oh, well, thank you.
And also former colleagues. So it's really good to have you here today and kind of catch up on things and also talk a little bit about this awesome event. Yeah. So this is the 16th year. That always gets me excited because it demonstrates longevity and the idea that this is something that's working for lots of reasons. So tell us a little bit about what the Writers' Conference is and maybe a little bit about the birth of it.
Okay. I was one of the founding members of it, and so it was really fun when we were offered a chance to have an Alabama writer, Mary Ward Brown, to come up and just sign some books for our students. They were putting her on a tour and just kind of wanted her to do that. Well, we decided that it would be great if the students actually read the books and she could talk to them about it and they could ask her questions. And so it started out as a small event, and she was lovely. She came up, spent the night, had 2 sessions. That's how it all got started, and we decided we wanted to do this every year because the students were so excited. We taught the book in every class, from developmental all the way up through literature, and the students were very receptive to it in every class. And when we would ask them, what's your favorite thing this year or this semester, they would say that when we got to study this book and meet the author. Yeah. And so we always said it was kind of like, you know somebody famous and you finally get to meet them. You might like listening to the album, which dates me, but anyway, listening to the album and then having the person come and play music for you. So that's how it got started, and we've just kept it up.
It really is a different experience. It's almost like connecting the students with the theory and the application. So you talk about the person in class, you have a chance to read their book, and then the person actually magically appears on campus to have this great conversation with people. And I've had a chance to attend these things as well. It's really a lot of energy behind the process, and the students seem to be really engaged. I think it's really great that they actually, in anticipation of the visit, spend time reading the book, and I think that makes a difference. Wouldn't you say so, Leighann?
Yes, and we have tried, especially in the last few years, to consciously kind of diversify our writers who we invite. So we've had last year Jeremy Schaap, who's an ESPN reporter and sports writer who had written a biography of Jesse Owens. And we've had poetry and short fiction. And then this year, our guest speaker is a professor of psychology at MIT. And so it's a nonfiction work that really applies to so many of our students and to all of us, really. And so we've been assigning it in class and having discussions and writing assignments based around the information in their books. So.
Very cool. You said Jeremy Schaap, and I got to just digress for a moment because I'm a big sports fan. So a few years ago, I'm traveling out to San Francisco, and I think we had a layover in either somewhere in New Mexico or Arizona, and I looked up at the baggage claim area, and there's Jeremy Schaap. And so I walked up to him and I said, "You're Jeremy Schaap, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes," and he kindly took a photo with me. A very cool moment to have somebody like that come into the community. And then you've got a great author this year that I think is extremely relevant and pragmatic for the times in which we live. Tell us a little something about who she is.
Well, she's a professor at MIT, and it's interesting because she immediately says in the book that she's not anti-technology, but she does distinguish a difference between the appropriate use of technology and the inappropriate use.
And her name is Sherry Turkle.
Sherry Turkle, yes, and she is. She's done a 30-year study on people's relationships to technology, has written several books, been on TED Talks, and been on some television shows talking about it, and served on various panels dealing with humans dealing in or with computers.
Yeah.
So she's a clinical psychologist, and you know, anybody that's at MIT surely is not anti-technology.
Yeah, she describes it as the intentional use of technology, so that there are ways in which it can connect us with people, but how often it interferes with the face-to-face conversations that really build relationships.
Yeah. You know, I think most of us who come from a previous generation bemoan the loss of the impersonal ways in which we used to communicate, and that were very personal now as you think about it, because we were connected by really antiquated methods like mail.
Yes.
You know, and we look forward to getting a letter from somebody that they actually sat down and wrote by hand. And I mean, that was just one of the most special things about being so far away from home when I was in school, to get a letter from my parents. We've kind of lost that today. And we literally sit in the same room with one another, and people text one another in the same room. I mean, do those kinds of things blow your mind like they blow my mind?
They do mine, because I'm older than you, I think, and it's so different. And you know, I was a little worried about this with the students, because they really do love their cell phones especially, and she does a lot of talking about cell phones. But they understand it too, and so many that she talks to in the book, and so many that we talk to, miss that. They miss conversations, just like we're having. You know, they want that face-to-face, and they're a little nervous about it too, because they haven't had many of them.
What is the risk? I'm going to call you English professionals and English experts right now. In the whole context of that, what is the risk that is posed to students today? Because you work with them on a daily basis, and you see their writing, you see their communication skills. What is the risk posed by too much dependence on technology?
Well, she really emphasizes that the loss of skills dealing with empathy, that without that face-to-face interaction, that students are becoming, or young people are becoming, less and less empathetic. And I think we see that, especially maybe even teaching literature, which is such a wonderful way to develop those skills. And our students have repeatedly had epiphanies while they're reading this book and saying, this is me, you know, this is my family, or this is my friends. And that, I think, has been very important in the classroom and in class discussions. She organizes the book using Henry David Thoreau's ideas of these 3 chairs at Walden, and 1 chair is for solitude, and 2 chairs are for relationships, interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And then 3 chairs for society, for larger social groups. And then her 4th chair that she imagines is actually artificial intelligence and humans talking to machines and interacting with machines. But, you know, she plays fair in the book and says it's not just teenagers. Parents are disconnecting from their children. And I've had several students who have written about very important moments in their lives when they wanted to connect with their parent and the parent was absorbed in the phone. So.
And I really love the fact that she's a clinical psychologist, because that's my field, of
Exactly.
course. And so I can completely relate to that, because I can remember those instances in which I would talk with parents who were frustrated by the fact that they couldn't develop communication with their kids. And I would say, well, how does that process go? Talk to me a little bit about that. And then I found out that it was often a one-sided exchange. So when the parents demanded attention from kids, the kids might not have been available, but then when the kids demanded attention from the parents, and I'm saying demanded, that sounds a little strong, but when they just wanted to have a conversation, which provided a window of opportunity that I always describe as, it may only be open for a short period of time before it closes, or that interest or attention is transferred to someone else. that's something that we have to think about. And in this technology-driven society, so much of that is happening today.
Sure.
That the disconnect is easy to have, even in our place of employment, our social networks, and that go beyond just the social media, and it's the community itself. And, you know, again, that's a huge loss if we continue down that pathway and we don't achieve the balance that Sherry Turkle talks about.
Yeah, and that's what she wants. She wants us to achieve a balance, and she sets forth toward the end of the book some ideas of how we can achieve that. But you know, you were talking about students, kids and their parents, and what was really interesting to me was she kept making the statement that we're giving up parental rights to machines when we say, you know, you can play with this phone or this game, you know, just to keep yourself busy. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we've got a few minutes left. Let's tell people where they can find this awesome experience, the 16th annual Writers Conference that's coming up soon, and tell them the date, tell them where they can actually have the experience.
Sure.
October 24th is a Monday, and she's going to have 2 sessions. The first session is in the Health Sciences Building, room 109 on Decatur campus. It starts at 9:30. And usually the way that goes is she does her presentation. Students and anybody there, audience members, can ask questions, and then she signs books. And then that night, same day, October 24th, she will start her talk at 7, and it will be at the Alabama Center for the Arts in downtown Decatur. The only difference is she's going to sign books from 6 to 7.
Okay, but just before the
Before, because she has other commitments.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to emphasize too is the event is free for everyone.
It's important, yeah.
Calhoun students, community members, everyone. And I think when the Writers' Conference began, that was a point that you all, in the beginning, the original committee emphasized and really kind of demanded from the administration.
Absolutely.
And this year and last, the school also gave us money to purchase books for students for free, which has been invaluable.
Yeah, we've given out tons of books to students and other people who are interested. But if a community member wants to come, we will have some books available there. If they want to read it ahead of time, we will have books available at the bookstore. But also, it's everywhere. You know, all the normal places that you can find it.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like a fascinating event once again. Kudos for bringing the 16th year to us, high quality contacts and information, sharing great networking experiences. Thank you for doing this, Dr. Sheila Byrd. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. I have so enjoyed talking to you and seeing you again.
Wonderful. Well, come back and see us sometime.
Okay.
Dr. Leighann Rhea, thank you for being here once again.
Thank you so much for having us.
We hope that you'll come out and join us for the 16th Annual Writers Conference that's going to take place on October 24th, and listen to all the great information that Sherry Turkle has to say. This is her book, Reclaiming Conversation, The Power of Talk in a Digital Age. This is a fascinating read, and we hope that you'll come out and support this very important event. If you want to be a part of this, of course, you'll go to the Calhoun Community College campus on the morning of October 24th at 9:30. And if you want to catch her in the evening at 7 o'clock at the Alabama Center for the Arts, I'm going to be there. I hope you will too. We hope that you have enjoyed this session of the broadcast, and we invite you to like our Facebook page, which is Impact with Kenny Anderson. We'll have images of the broadcast as well as a video of the show that you just watched. In the meantime, we hope that you have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you again soon.